Hello and welcome to another update video about GALA. GALA has not, we don't have too many changes to the last video, to be honest. GALA is still overall in a downtrend, as you can see here. So this move up on the reaction, the negative reaction to this move to the upside started the downtrend on the 28th of January, and since then we have been moving down further. So as you can see here, we might be in a so-called descending wedge situation. It's a bit unclear. We don't really have too many touch points, but it might be working out as a descending wedge, which means the so-called C wave here of this correction. Yeah, just a reminder here, we count this wave 2 as an A, B, C structure. This correction can be seen as an ending diagonal, possibly. Yeah, it doesn't need to because it actually has impulsive characteristics, but you could possibly, okay, you could possibly do so. Either way, it is constrained in this descending wedge at the moment, and we've just reached resistance here. I mean, I haven't drawn it super accurately. If I really was drawing it to the previous high, then you can actually see we are breaking out. But then again, considering, do I consider the wicks? Do I not consider the wicks? Yeah, so it's not entirely clear. I don't think we have a sustained breakout yet. But either way, that would only be the very first signal that a turnaround is happening. As you know, we've reached here the support area in the last few days. We have reached what we want to reach, which is a low below the wave 3. And I told you in the previous video that I would expect it to bottom somewhere in this region, which doesn't mean it has bottomed yet. It might have done. Yeah, because we've got enough waves to the downside complete, but the ideal targets are actually in this region, here between 3.59 and 3.99 cents. Now we reached basically 4 cents, but it could still have bottomed. Yeah, all the wave 5 really needs to do is to go below the low of the third. Now we did use Fibonacci extensions, targets, yeah, and also here the previous wave 4 low to identify an area where with a high likelihood it would get into and turn around. Now the larger support area is already the key target here for the current move down, but then specifying it even more closely made us come up with this range here that is constrained by the dotted lines. As you can see, we've sort of not reached that yet, missed it by 0.1 of a cent, and you know, that's fine. Sometimes it does that. What I can tell you is at the moment we don't have any evidence that we are already turning around. We could be. That's why I always encourage, you know, when you have a pattern complete, don't necessarily wait for the absolute lowest price if you want to start to scale in, but at the moment the move up is only in 3 waves. It looks corrective at this stage. Bear in mind, a lot can happen on a day like that where we've got CPI data coming out, yeah. But at the moment, yeah, it could be, it looks like a corrective pattern. So it could be, for example, here a WXY pattern, which is now complete, yeah. Within the Y wave, so W, so that's a bit, anyway, should be a WXY. And then within the, oh, that should be a Y. What happened there? So W, yeah, and then Y. Within the Y wave, we should have an A, B, and possibly here the C. Just an idea. This can change because corrective waves can change quite a bit. Main benefit of the Elliott wave method is to recognize it is most likely not an impulse, but a correction, which means you should still be a bit careful. And that we don't have a confirmed, at this stage, not a confirmed breakout yet. Yeah, so it looks a bit like a, you could argue maybe a little bit of a bear flag here at the moment, yeah, which should, like this one, it should, not that it will, but it should break to the downside and continue to head further down. But we've got enough waves complete to the downside to consider the entire move complete. So I think we're fairly low of finding fairly close to find a low here, somewhere in this region. The region is quite large, but that's not a surprise given the extension of the move to the upside. So naturally, based on mathematics, based on FIB retracements, the retracement area is quite large. I think we had at some point an entry point here or here that was a much smaller area because the advance that happened before was much shorter. But because we now need to consider the entire move and we're coming down for a high probability turnaround space, the turnaround space has to be larger because it always is based on FIB targets, and those FIBs extend out the larger the preceding move was. Okay, so that's important. I think here really it's all about, we need to be watching, do we develop an impulse now? I mean, we have done enough to the downside. We've made it below the wave 3. Okay, we fell short of reaching targets, so primarily I would still expect lower, also because the move up so far is corrective. But bear in mind that as soon as we see an impulse, we've probably already moved like whatever 5 to 10%. Okay, so just consider that when you develop your strategy. A first really good sign that the move down is over would be a break above the wave 4 high. That is pretty much here the high of 4.61 cent. Breaking above that level would indicate that we are already either in the third wave to the upside, because then we would consider this the wave 2 low, or, and that's the alternative, but it wouldn't make a difference in the short term, that all of this is just an A wave of a larger wave 2 correction. This will be a B wave of the larger wave 2, and we will come down lower in a C wave. But either way, there should be some kind of a reaction to this support area. So this is the alternative, and that's not a problem from a strategic point of view. It would still be a possibility to enter here speculating we might be either in a third wave, or in the worst case, it's a B wave, which will not advance that much and will be difficult to trade, but at least it should show some upside from here. And that would allow everybody to enter, to add or to move up the stop loss into profit or break even, like we've done it for ADA now since yesterday. Okay, that's my update about GALA. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.